Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 1000 Books for Parentpreneurs podcast. I am so excited to dive into this new journey of podcasting about entrepreneurship and financial education for entrepreneurs. With me today, I am so excited to have Eran Bucai, who is an entrepreneur and a coach and just a mentor and has so much wisdom. Hi, Eran.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, shalom.
I'll just give a little bit of context. I met Eran in one of the groups online, and I've been following his journey and just really impressed with his teaching style and mentorship and case studies and experiments that he runs online. And I said, let's bring him over and have him share a little bit with us so that we can leverage his wisdom and learn from his journey. So glad to have you here, Eran. Welcome.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
So where should we get started? Let's talk a little bit about your story before we dive into the nuts and bolts of digital business. So tell us a little bit, Eran, about how you became a digital entrepreneur. Why did you choose the internet and digital media, and anything you care to share about that?
Yeah. I think that it's important to go through that little bit of a backstory, because sometimes people think that they might be too old to get started, or they might not have the right skill set, or they might not have the right education or the background. And there's a lot of rags to riches stories online and stuff like that. But I'm not necessarily one of them, quote unquote. But my backstory, like, I really didn't end up in digital marketing or make money online because I was like all dying to be an entrepreneur. It was really a pure necessity that I needed to find a way to make money. And I never went to high school, so then getting a job was extremely difficult. It was impossible to even go to a job interview. So it was like I couldn't get a job, but I need to make money. How do I do that? I was at the time on an unemployment benefits. I was getting money from the government to support myself, which I hated it, but I needed to figure out a way to make money. And it was literally just stumbling across the option of making money online. And I just went down that rabbit hole. And that's kind of how it happened. It was really just a pure necessity.
Okay, and so you have this pure necessity, and then you hear things, I guess, about the internet, things are happening, and then what? What's the first step that you took in this journey?
Yeah, so this was 2017, in the beginning of 2017, late 2016. Because I moved from Israel when I was 16 years old, and I was in Australia for 14 years by that stage. I was 30. And when I was in Australia, I actually just worked as a volunteer, like nonprofits and stuff like that. So I never had an official job per se. And it was just a family friend that hooked me up and stuff like that here. And then that's what I did. I ended up doing it for 14 years. And I loved it. I loved the volunteering and stuff. But it also meant when you're volunteering, you make no money. Like there's zero money in it, right? Really. So what happened is I was 30. I was like, okay, I'm wrapping up my volunteer commitments. Time to go and get a job. Because I moved when I was 16 without my family, stuff like that. Like my family are all in Israel. I just didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to get a job, right? Because I didn't go to high school. So when I go to get a job, it was like, where's your resume? What's your qualifications? And I'm like, qualifications? Like, I don't know. Like, what do you want me to do? I mean, I can sell, I could talk to people, you know what I mean? So, and I just didn't realize how difficult it was going to be. So then I knew one thing, observing, even though I wasn't a nonprofit, I observed that a lot of successful people have real estate, right? So I thought, okay, let's go on YouTube, let's learn about real estate. And I was watching Grant Cardone, who does real estate show. So that's what I was.
That's why the Grant Cardone quote that we'll get to in a sec. Okay, go ahead, please.
That's right. So on his show, there was ads, and one of the ads was from a coach, and he said, start an online business with no money down. And that was the first time I heard of the concept of make money online with no money, and then it was no money down. I was like, well, I'm broke. I mean, I need that.
Good start.
Yeah. So that was really the first time I even heard of the concept of make money online. And when I started following Grant, was the first time I even heard the word entrepreneur. I've never even heard of the word entrepreneur. English is my second language. We don't have those words like when it's just not part of the language, and then I went down that rabbit hole, basically, sign up for webinars, strategy calls, all that stuff. And I ended up pulling a trigger on one course. It was a cheap course. And then I went through that course, and then I had a coach that was assigned to me, which was really a salesperson. And I thought I could do a better job than them. By the time I finished, I thought I could do that job. And I heard that company was hiring. So I was like, let's see if I could apply. And then I managed to kind of squeeze my way in, and I became a coach for that company. The company was not a company that I would ever have joined again. If I had to go back to the beginning, I would have never been part of a company like that. It was much more of a network marketing, affiliate marketing company. And a year and a half into the journey, they got closed down by the FTC, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, but in the company, I made, in the 14 months I was with them, I did make 145K, right? Which was a really good result for my first year, from like, I have no freaking clue what's going on, to I'm actually making money, which to some degree was also deceiving, because I'm thinking, here I am making money, I must be doing the right things. But I also invested in a lot of training with them, a lot of mastermind stuff like that, advertising. So by the time they were closed down, I was actually in debt. So I started with no debt and ended up in a debt of 55K, right?
Got it.
So I came out of that experience making money, but in a debt and with no income. So then I thought, okay, there's something seriously wrong, right? Because I didn't just blow the money. I mean, I'm very frugal. I don't do drugs, don't do alcohol. I don't party. I'm frugal as hell. I live cheaply. And, I work all the time. Like, what the hell's going on, And then I had a friend that helped me get a 9-to-5 job at the time. And it was actually a company that I was really, really interested to be a part of. And because now I had a little bit of experience, which was not non-profit, all of a sudden he managed to get me in the door. And it's funny, but that company was a startup, and it was a topic that I really wanted to learn, which was M&A. It was a mergers and acquisition software company. So I love that whole niche and all that. And then I was like, okay, let's side hustle and rebuild, because I've never had a 9-to-5 job. You see, a lot of people, they start making money online. I want to quit my 9-to-5 job. I've never had a 9-to-5 job to quit in the first place, because I was always a volunteer. So I thought, let's go through this 9-to-5 gig and see what's the whole fuss is about. So it was like a little pilot, a little experiment for myself to go through the 9-to-5 journey and experience, and then figure out the side hustle. And because I had 55K in debt, I couldn't afford events. I couldn't afford courses. So I had only one option: books, right? And that's what I went to, because I kind of stopped. I mean, I did do a little bit of books when I first got started, but it stopped once I invested in all the courses. I abandoned books. So I went back to books because I thought, what's the only thing I could afford, And that opened my eyes massively to like, oh my God, why am I even paying anybody 10 grand, 20 grand, 5 grand? It's literally all in a $15 book. I mean, this is crazy, right? And that's kind of how it happened. And that's how I kind of got involved in digital marketing. So there you go.
I just absolutely love the evolution of how you figured out your way. I think a lot of entrepreneurs listening are in a similar situation where they're like, I can't afford all these classes. I know I can do things on the internet. I know I could rock this digital business stuff, but where to start? So so yes, books have made a tremendous difference in my life as well. So you say that budget in a lot of your content, budget is not an absolute necessity. Do you stand behind it? Can anyone without a budget start a digital business? Can you chime in about that?
I absolutely think that's the case, and I'll explain exactly how and why. Okay. So there is actually, if you look at the e-learning industry, digital education and stuff like that. Obviously 20 years ago, it was non-existent. Now there is so many learning platforms with so many courses. You can pretty much pick up any skill. Now, if you just think about the world and like, let's just go back to the evolution of money even, right? What's money? Money is essentially, it's all a form of exchange. 200 years ago, we would trade, bread for a cow, and it was a barter.
Right.
And money has evolved to be the central agreement that you can exchange that. And really, from food and necessities, what has it evolved is it's evolved to products and to services, whether it's physical products, services. If you go to the dentist, if you go to get a haircut, it's all services, right?
Yes.
So online, all you got to figure out is what service can you provide online, right? That, and even not necessarily online, any service you can provide that somebody's going to be willing to exchange. It could be as simple as dog walking. You know what I mean? I mean, if you can walk and you can do dog walking service, you can go and put flyers for, or go door knocking and see dog, and like you could just go on Facebook groups in your local area and say, hey, I do dog walking for $10 per walk. If anybody's interested, let me know. It is that simple, and you start building up the cash, right? For that way. So,
Yep.
and then when it comes to like digital marketing services and stuff like that, there is so many platforms: LinkedIn Learning, there is Udemy, there is Creative Live. And the ones like Creative Live and LinkedIn Learning, you can sign up for a 30-day free trial with, you need to enter a credit card, but 30 days, you can spend 3 days morning to night consuming 10 courses on copywriting or on SEO or on Facebook ads. Just like be completely obsessed for 3 days and just do it. You'll already know more than 50% of the population on that topic just by doing that alone, right? And
Hmm.
then you can go and just
Is
go
that
on
what you've been
Facebook.
doing through the years, just consuming e-education, e-learning courses, learning, because you're basically self-taught, and I think
Yeah,
that's an approach that, and by the way, me too, um,
yeah,
very, very doable, right?
very
Online.
doable, very doable, very, very doable.
Okay.
So, and that's how I would recommend someone else to do it. The thing is, I didn't know that, so I didn't even go that route. I learned in ways that are probably a little bit more complicated, but I would have had it so much easier if I knew what I'm telling you right now. And that's what I would have done. I would have just gone 3 days, study the hell of it, go get a client, practice,
Yes.
and that's it.
So, you, Eran, have a blueprint online that you created called
Yeah,
a cheat sheet, starting a successful online business.
yeah,
And I actually have printed it out, and I just love it because you really spell out the simple steps. You're giving the shortcuts. You're telling people, don't waste time on this. Focus on this to get this thing off the ground pretty quickly. And you write here, these steps are a complete summary of my business model. They enabled me to eliminate my debt. So we already know the end of the story of the
that's right.
55,000 in debt, and set up my business so I live off of passive income. We'll talk about that in a
Yeah.
second. All of that happened within a period of 1 year. One
Mm,
year. So the
mm,
turnaround and the results are pretty quick on the internet if you if you play your cards right. And then
yeah,
you reveal your formula, which we're going to talk about in a sec. And you say, this is not rocket science. It is not complicated. It is
yeah,
extremely practical, and anyone can do it. So
yeah.
this is, I'm guessing, giving a lot of wind in the sails of anyone listening. And let's
Mm,
dive in, if it's okay with you,
yeah,
to the steps of the
yeah,
science that you call the
yeah,
science of making money online. So you have broken it down into an 8-step blueprint.
yeah,
Um, and so let's dive right in. So step one, you already shared with us. Have a skill that you can use to serve someone, or
yep.
if you don't know what skill, acquire a new skill. And Eran gave us the tip that you can go in all kinds of e-learning platforms. You gave us the example of LinkedIn Learning,
Hmm.
Udemy, and other course platforms, and you could do it for either sometimes free, sometimes very cheap.
Yeah,
And we'll talk about why you don't think that we need to spend a lot of money on high ticket courses. So
yeah.
you say, or acquire a new skill that you can provide as a service. All right. So anything you want to add about that, or should we go to step two?
No, I think there is one element that's really important on that is you got to understand that once you do the courses, you know more, but you don't haven't practiced it, right?
Right.
So that's okay, but you know enough to at least give it a try and give it a go, and then you will get better. So a lot of people are like, I got to learn more, I got to get better. It's like, no, you're not going to get better by endlessly studying either. So
Right.
you do need to pull the trigger on getting that first client after 24, 48 hours. Like
Oh,
don't
that
spend a month
quickly, huh?
studying it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And what would you tell
48.
to people who say, oh, but I need to be certified. I'm not an expert. How do I charge money for something that I just learned 48 hours ago? Anything you want to say to those people?
Totally. Transparency and honesty with who's actually asking you something. So when you're talking to someone, right? And if let's just pretend that you are a potential customer, right? And now I know right now, I already know you do an interview slash podcast. So I know maybe you need a bit of audio editing. Maybe you need to chop a video, a little bit of video editing, for example. I already know you probably need something like that, or you do it yourself because that's what you do. I can reach out and say, hey, I'm an aspiring video editor and I'm actually looking to practice. I've just been studying video editing and I've done some courses and I'm really eager to practice it. Would you mind do you have any videos that you need editing? I could take it off your plate. I'll do it totally free. And all I ask is that you let me know how was your experience. And if you thought it was great at the end, I'll ask you to give me a testimonial, but only if you felt like it was actually worth it. That's it. Simple as that. Who's going to say no to that?
That is amazing. That is so practical and can be done today. Right?
Today.
And
That's right.
and you're right. Who would say no to that? And even if they do, like, let's just move on to the next one. That's a great
There's
tip.
so many of them. There's so
That's
many
a
of them
great
out
tip.
there.
Step 2 in your blueprint is find one customer in your warm audience, people that you know that need your service. So please chime in about that and
Totally.
how what do you refer to when you say warm audience, and how
Yeah.
do we well, you just gave us an idea of how to find that one customer. Anything else you want to add to that?
So your warm audience, and there's different ways to say it. Like obviously you got friends and family. If you look at the network
Right.
marketing, they refer to as friends and family recruitment or whatever. Or you can do what Grant Cardone refers to as the power base, which is just people that know you. And if you look at pretty much everybody has a Facebook account or an Instagram account. They've got friends, family, connections. They could literally write a post and say that, right? And they don't even have to ask their warm audience to be a client. They could say, if you know anyone that has a podcast or a YouTube channel that might want some free video editing, please let me know or tag them below, right? Simple
Okay,
as
so
that.
try to gain support from your nearest circle.
Correct. That's exactly right.
Have them help you out in getting that first customer if necessary. Step
That's
3,
right.
deliver the service for cheap or for free.
Yeah.
Do an amazing job. Over deliver and blow them away. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So obviously when you're getting started, you want to, there's an element of a discipline where you do a good job. And this is a point that I think is actually really important to discuss. Some people might think that digital marketing or any of these services, maybe it's saturated. There's so many more people that know it better than me, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to tell you right now, this is my subjective experience having hired other people and had talked to customers and heard about their experiences. The digital marketing is not saturated with quality. It is saturated with non-competent or not so ethical or not so disciplined freelancers. There's a lot of them, but if you want to get a quality one, you really do need to search for it. It's actually, you'd be surprised about how difficult it is to find somebody who's like actually reliable, that is high communication, responsive, does a good job, and stuff like that. And if you ever hired anybody online to do any services like that, everybody would have had that experience where they found somebody and it's not saving them a lot of time because they end up having to give corrections and it's back and forth and da. So if you can have that discipline that you're not just, okay, your skill might not be the perfect, but you're going to be so full on to really make sure you do an incredible job, you will already stand above your competition really easily that way, right? So that's a point where people can think it's saturated. It really isn't. It really is not saturated.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Now, step 4, you say request a testimonial.
Yeah.
And a referral. So just as to give the listener some context, I've been following Eran stuff, and he has so many amazing testimonials. Amazing. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone have so many amazing testimonials. So talk to us about, I think that's something that you really promote and believe in. Talk to us about how to go about getting it and why you've put so much emphasis with the importance of sharing these testimonials. And what do you mean when you say referral?
Totally. So the testimonials, there's a couple of elements as to why I do it. I think it's really important to understand the idea behind it. When I observe marketing online, you got to figure out where can you stand out. Okay. Now, if you actually look online, like you said, you haven't seen people with as many testimonials as me, because there's a lot, it's rare. It's actually quite rare, because most social proof that you see on people's sales pages is actually screenshots of comments or DMs or posts on Facebook. They're not legitimate reviews where somebody goes and leaves an authentic review on a review website like Facebook or Yelp or Google or something like that, right? And if you just pay attention, and people probably don't even notice it unless I say it, but next time you see a sales page and you want to see all the social proof, you will see probably 90% of it is just screenshots of a DM, like saying, hey, Eran, thank you so much. You helped me a lot today. That's not a testimonial, okay? That's just a message. Let's just be real here and be more authentic about it. It's actually not a testimonial. I mean, what's the context of, hey, Eran, you really helped me today? It could have been something about the fact that I just, I don't know,
You
send
walked
him a
his
link.
dog. No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
like it could be totally irrelevant. It's so easy to fake. Now, did that person actually send a thank you message? Sure, maybe they did, but that doesn't mean it's a testimonial for the
Okay.
service.
All right. So
right?
how do we go about doing it properly?
Open up a Facebook business page, and automatically there is reviews that people can actually go and leave for you. So when the job is complete, you did a great job. The person is super happy about it, and you make sure that the person's super happy about it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like a little bit happy. Like if they're not blown away and, hoping to come back to work with you again, or, just like they need to really be over the top satisfied. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Send them a review. They'll happily do it. And you got to also understand that because you went in the beginning and said, I wanted to do it for free, realize that when you do a good job with somebody, they actually, as humans, we naturally want to exchange. We naturally want to do that. We want to help. So that's their form of payment, is to give you a testimonial, right?
Yep. So it sounds from your experience that getting testimonials is important. B, it is not so hard, especially when you blow them away, over deliver. And if you choose to do it for free or for cheap, then you should be all set. That would be their reciprocity.
Right.
Now, when you say a referral, do you request them to refer clients to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's an interesting one. You could do it in a way where you find out from them. Like sometimes, a lot of the time, when you do a really, really good job, they probably naturally already think about people that might benefit from it already. So they might actually bring it up. I often have that where people actually just bring it up.
Yep.
And then I say, well, that's great. If you have anybody, just so you know, I do give a referral fee as well if they end up paying for something. And so it will be great if you do. And otherwise, you also gonna understand there's different types of referrals. Like when you're engaging in Facebook groups like I do, like you would have seen, a lot of the times, because I worked with somebody, they just tag me. It's so easy for them to tag me because they already have that experience. They're like, oh yeah, just talk to Eran, he knows about blah blah blah.
Yep.
So that's another way of their referrals as well.
Got it. This is really, really terrific. So we covered testimonials and referrals, and then quickly run through the rest of the steps, because some of them are repeat, right? So you say step 5, use that testimonial to get your second client. So we're up to client number 2. Step 6, use your skill and do an even better job for client number 2. Step 7, request a testimonial and a referral. And rinse, repeat, right? Continue this process over and over, rinse and repeat. So so that is your blueprint and roadmap, and I love it. I love the simplicity of it, and anyone can get started today.
Literally today.
And you did share a quote here that I want to share with the listeners, where by Grant Cardone: an idea plus hard work multiplied over long periods of time plus discipline will always equal success. Anything from your own story that you want to add to that quote?
Yeah.
You find that has worked for you?
Massively, because that process is so simple. It really is not complicated. You really don't need any money to do that. You really just need to be proactive about it, right? And then you'll get better, because your first job, I'm embarrassed about the first project that I've done. You know what I mean? Like, it's just how it's going to be, because as you get better, you look back, you're like, wow, I really didn't do as a good job as I hoped, and every when I look at YouTube videos that I created 3 years ago, I just think, oh my God, what a terrible video. Like, I don't even understand what I was talking about. You know what I mean? And then any blogs that I've written, I've got about 70 blogs, and some of them, like, I'm in the process of migrating my website, and I'm like, I'm not even going to bother migrating. Like, it's just such garbage. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
you had to go from my
Yeah.
vision. It seems like you have to walk the walk. You have to do this journey. And part of that journey is creating, low quality stuff, because that's the best you could do at that moment in time, right?
That's right.
And I think a lot of people let the fear of creating something mediocre or low quality just stop them from doing, right? So you're sitting there and thinking about this business idea or this venture for years sometimes.
That's right.
So, Eran, why do you think a lot of entrepreneurs, if it's so simple, and this is, by the way, the steps, and I will link to Eran's PDF where you could get the steps yourself. Why do you think if it's so, the roadmap is so relatively simple, obviously it does require hard work and persistence, why do so many entrepreneurs, why are they not able to get off the ground and create momentum and create multiple income streams? Like, what do you think are the mistakes or limitations or choices that they're making that's not allowing them to take off?
Yeah. So there's a few elements. I could give you an example of a reason why. First of all, I think it's just not known so much, but there's a reason why it's not known. So, I'm a little guy, you know what I mean? I'm just a little guy, and I don't have massive advertising budget. Okay. Now you have people out there who are charging an arm and a leg for services and coaching and masterminds that are really not that much different to what I actually teach. It really isn't necessarily that much different. They just decided to charge such a premium price, and therefore they're blanketing the market with their advertising. So you tend to hear about them a lot more. So these are strictly they just have the budgets to actually be more known. And the truth is that if they have those budget to spend, why would they tell people what I've just told you? It makes zero sense financially for their business. If they want you to pay them $5,000 for a coaching program, 6 months coaching program to walk people through, why would they tell you you can start with $0 and you actually should?
Right.
So there is a strict greed.
It's a conflict of interest, right?
It's a conflict of interest. There's a genuine conflict of interest there, right? Whether they like to admit it or not, that's irrelevant. In a real universe, there is a conflict of interest.
Right. So, any other mistakes that you see your clients make, like things that are repeating themselves that you look at and you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
So spending a lot of time on trying to figure out what software to use and what to do and all that stuff, so little at the beginning, you're better off just getting started and then, go through the walls. Like,
so do you mean instead of over researching what software to use, just jump in?
Terrible idea.
Make the mistake.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Get a skill and get a client. That's the steps you should do.
Yeah.
Skill client. You don't need a website. And I build websites for a living. That's how I actually make a living, right? So I'm telling you something so counterintuitive to my financial benefit, right? I'm telling you, forget about a website, Facebook business page, skill, go get a client. Okay. Like in the next 48 hours. And that's all you should do, right?
Yep. Got it. Yep. Now, you also say stop being a consumer and start being a producer, and you give some do's and don'ts about that. Can you chime in? What do you mean by that? What are you seeing that people are doing about, acting as a consumer as opposed to a producer?
Totally. Watching this video right now, you're a consumer, okay? Don't listen to this video unless you're going to do something with it.
Produce. Right.
Do something. Go and produce. Go and implement, right? Because if you're going to listen to what we're talking about now and then do nothing with it, you'll probably end up watching the next video and then do exactly the same thing. And then watch the next podcast and the next video and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. 6 months go down the track and you're still thinking.
Are you feeling like most entrepreneurs that you're seeing online are spending way too much time in the consumer stage? Like in
Way
consuming
too much time.
content? Because the content is endless, really, and it is a lot of times high quality content, but you're saying produce,
Produce.
which
Get a skill and get a client. If
right.
you don't
So
get a client in the first 7 days, you're
yeah.
already missing the point, because 80% of your efforts should be on sales and marketing and getting that client. And if you're spending less time than that, you're consuming too much.
Okay. So some of the do's that you're telling
It's
us,
brutal. I know it's a bit brutal. It's a bit brutal.
no,
I
you
know.
tell it like it is. I absolutely love this. So you're saying engage in free marketing strategies as opposed to paid advertising. So you are not big on paid advertising, especially since most entrepreneurs start out with very limited budget at best.
Yeah. Look, so I think that's an important topic to discuss. I am about to start paid advertising. Paid advertising, there's gonna look a lot of people who are gonna like the big more successful people than me are gonna disagree with me on that. And that's okay, because they've had success with paid advertising, right? But I just know I just had no money to do that in the beginning. And you're running a risk that you don't yet know what's going to work, right? It's just easier and less risky,
Right.
right? And I think that the point to also cover here is, when I'm giving you those steps and all that, I'm not saying that's the only way to make money online. I'm just saying that's the surest way, and the less you're eliminating any risk by going what I'm telling you to do today.
Right.
That eliminates any risk, both financially and otherwise, because it costs you $0. It only takes effort. Get to paid advertising quickly. That's cool. But then by that stage, you already have a skill that's making you money, and you're not actually outlaying the costs, because you've already made that money to get started.
Okay. Let's go to some of your other do's and don'ts. Focus on one-on-one and freelancer services. We discussed that,
Yeah.
as opposed to selling products and creating high-ticket programs and courses, which could come down the line, but this is not something that you should start out with. Stay lean on expenses. This is what you were talking about also. Don't spend a lot of money, and do not invest in expensive software. You're saying study books and audiobooks. So this is a biggie, all right? And you do give us some ideas for books that have created a big change in your life. Can you chime in about that, and even maybe show us some of the books that have made a difference for you?
Definitely. So look, the main 2 books that helped me was this one, .com Secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just to be super clear on people that might know this book or know the company, this is done by Russell Brunson, who's the CEO of ClickFunnels.
Yep.
I'm not actually a ClickFunnels user myself, right? So I'm not saying that's the software to use. That's not the one that I use anyway. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is get the book, right? And I learned a lot from it. And I also I didn't take everything in the book, and I agree. I don't necessarily agree with every little thing in the book, but it gave me really, really, really good foundations. And he teaches it really clearly, in really simple terms, that as a beginner, it will make total sense for you, right? And I'll give you one example, just so you know what the context of the thing. It says the first thing is, who's your target customer and where do they hang out, right? So that's why I'm saying your warm audience or Facebook. You could just go to a Facebook group on like the example we gave about, if you're video, let's say you take video editing, great. Go to a podcast, Facebook groups of podcasters, and then just say, you'll probably find some post, somebody saying, looking for somebody to edit my video or something like that, or YouTubers. Mm-hmm. You'll find somebody, you know what I mean? So that's one tip from the book that I got, which was really helpful. And then the second one was Expert Secrets as well, which kind of dovetails with it as well. And I think that's important in terms of, like, the freelancer is the beginning. Then you want to obviously position yourself as the authority, and that's what this book is also more about, basically.
Right. So both of the Russell Brunson books have made a difference for you. You also share about the book, which I wasn't familiar with, by the way, Rework.
Yes.
And you said that your personal favorite is the Millionaire Booklet.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add about these books or any of the other books that have made a difference? In general, can you chime in about why you feel books are so powerful in one's
Totally.
in the entrepreneur's journey?
Totally. You need to think about the author for a second to understand why it's so powerful. Nobody pretty much in their right mind will actually write a book and have spelling mistakes in it, gross spelling mistakes. They will not just type it in on a whim. They will actually structure it. It's got table of contents, it's got structure, it's got sequence. And there's actually, by the fact that you're writing a book, you're naturally are obliged to just put in thought into it, because it can't just be a garbage book. Otherwise, nobody will ever finish the book, ever.
Right.
So there is a massive amount of work that goes into it. If anyone has ever written an ebook even, or a book,
Yes.
you already know the thought process that goes into it, how to structure it, what's the sequence, stuff like that. Whereas if you're buying a course, somebody could just record a video that's totally irrelevant in the beginning, and then they ramble on about things that are just boring. And then you can easily get sidetracked, right? And the criteria for a course, there's so many types of courses. I've seen courses where people recorded a Zoom call, like we're having a conversation now at Zoom, all right? That's all nice and well. That's a podcast style. That's not a course. I've seen people that would have a 3-hour conversation with somebody and put it up and whack it on a platform and say, watch my 6-hour course. And it's 2 Zoom videos, 3 hours each. No transcript, no cheat sheet, no nothing. And they sell the course for, I'm not kidding, like hundreds of dollars.
Right. So would you say that these books have contributed a lot to your journey, have taught you a lot of what you know? And how often do you think that entrepreneurs should be engaging with book material, specifically digital business books? Like, is this something that every week, like this should be on the regular? And why aren't they doing it?
Look, it's funny. I don't really know why. I know some people are not book readers. I'm actually not much of a book reader myself. I'm a book listener. So I do a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah, which, by the way, to me, it seems the same.
Same.
Interchangeable. Yeah.
Exactly. And then the other thing is that, again, it goes back to the marketing side, because if somebody's going to market to you, get books, unless they have an upsell of additional courses and upsells and masterminds and coaching, they will not spend a lot of money on advertising on a single book, because that will make them no money on the back end. So again, it goes back to the best known products win, not necessarily the best products. And books being the best products, they will never win on their own, because you can't spend enough on advertising to make them the most known.
Right. And is there something about reading business books that I'm seeing that entrepreneurs are a little bit resistant to, and feeling like it's the long way of doing things? But I've found it to be a major shortcut, and really just presented to you on a silver platter. Like the blueprints are right there. Before we finish up, there's so much to discuss, but I want to talk a little bit. In this PDF, you talk about passive income, and that's specifically affiliate marketing. Yeah. So you've spoken to us about how you could get a business page, get a skill, get a client, the freelancer route, but there are passive income routes or affiliate marketing routes so that you can do in parallel. And you do share what are your ways of earning money as an affiliate marketer for different different platforms. And companies. For whoever downloads this PDF will be able to see how you make your money passively. Can you chime in about that? What can a beginner entrepreneur do today to start earning income from affiliate marketing? And then we're going to wrap up.
Yeah. So look, the affiliate marketing can be deceiving because there's 2 sides to it. There's a lot of affiliate marketers who promote stuff which is just pure garbage. You just got to understand that affiliate marketing, if you look at it as a straight business model, it's just a different type of marketing. Just like referral marketing, YouTube marketing, video marketing, affiliate marketing is just a type of marketing, right? And that's like the traditional word of mouth. If you look at it from that perspective, it's your traditional word of mouth turned into the online space. That's all it is, right? And typically when you do word of mouth, you don't go to a restaurant, have crappy food, and go tell your friend, I had crappy food, go buy it anyway. You know what I mean? You'll only tell them if the food was great,
Right.
So if you use affiliate marketing from that perspective, you'll only recommend stuff which is great, you'll feel good about it. It's something that they want, they'll benefit from it, and then you get a cut. So it's a kind of a no-brainer, and you want to integrate that to whatever service you're doing ideally.
Got it. Okay. So how does one go about getting an affiliate marketing I don't know, connection or recommendation today?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. So I wouldn't go and do it today. I would go get a client first.
okay,
And
so
again,
you would focus on the freelance first and then
totally.
in the next stage in the evolution, um, reach out to, I
So
guess.
once you've done the process on the freelancer, there is the other steps that come at the very end, which is two things. Number one, figure out how to then take what you're currently doing and integrate passive income streams. And affiliate marketing is one of them, right? Network marketing is another one, even though I don't do network marketing, but that's another way. And then the other way is creating digital products, ebooks, courses, stuff like that, right?
Yes.
So that's what you would want to do. And also there is other parts of automating how you're finding clients, which is through paid advertising. So those things come later once
Got
you
it.
are gone through the process, and then you figure out how to integrate
Right.
these things,
Once you have
basically.
your bread and butter from
You
freelancing.
got it. You
Okay.
got it.
Ron, this is unbelievable. We have covered so much. You talked to us about your backstory and how you started in this business from necessity, not necessarily a rags to riches story. You shared with us how you moved to Australia, which, by the way, I don't know if I was clear in the beginning that you are broadcasting to us from Australia.
Yeah.
How you were volunteering in nonprofits and how you transitioned into mergers and acquisition and the e-learning industry, and how you spoke to us about how we can learn in 2-3 days online, find a platform like LinkedIn Learning or Udemy, learn a skill, and then go find your first client. You shared with us that digital marketing is not saturated with quality, so not to hesitate to get into it, especially if you know that you could do serious work and get results for people.
Yeah.
And that it's hard to find someone reliable. You spoke to us about testimonials and referrals. So many pearls of wisdom there, and how important it is to go get that testimonial, put it on your business page. 3 easy steps: Facebook business page, get a skill, get a client. And you're saying if you haven't gotten your client in the first 7 days, you're missing the point. So
You're missing
you're
the point
still in the
completely.
consumer stage.
Yes.
You're stuck in the consumer loop.
Totally.
So you're saying stop being a consumer, start being a producer. So important.
That's
Um,
right. That's right.
Paid advertising, we've spoken about that. That's not something that's necessary in the beginning. Your blueprint is giving us a sort of a roadmap for doing things with minimal risk.
Correct.
Especially since a lot of entrepreneurs sometimes, obviously, especially in our community, they're parentpreneurs, you have a family, you cannot risk
That's
too
right.
much. So you can follow this roadmap until you reach a point where you're starting with paid advertising. And I just love your transparency with saying around that you're just now diving into it, and you've been in this for a couple of years. You shared with us the books that have made a difference in your life: .com Secrets, Expert Secrets, the Millionaire, what was I
Millionaire
missed.
booklets. Millionaire
Yes, and there
booklets
are
and
other
rework.
ones that when people start following you, I think Iran is as big, if not more, with business books, and you could see all his recommendations. And finally, you spoke to us about affiliate marketing and
Yeah.
creating digital products, and you're saying establish your freelance and
Yeah.
then move on to
Get a
creating
skill.
other multiple
That's right.
income streams. So just wow. um there's so much more I want to ask you, but I think we're limited at this point, and I think there's so much to think about here. As we wrap up, if you would like to share anything with our listeners, with other entrepreneurs, this is your chance to do so before we
Yeah.
wrap up, if you'd like.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the best way to connect with me, I've got a Facebook group that kind of takes you through
Yep,
a
please.
lot of free stuff, like 12 training models, sales, copywriting, sales funnels, email marketing, personal branding, client acquisition.
Where can we
You know,
find this group? Can you give us the name?
yeah. So if you type into the URL, and it's called .com truthsgroup.com. The truths has an S at the end. So
Yep.
.com truthsgroup.com.
Yes, and I have actually checked out this group, and it's got a lot of wisdom in it. So go check it out. .com, Any other way that anyone can reach out to you, or through the group?
Through the group, and just send me a message on Messenger. Just come have a chat,
Okay,
or go to my website eranbucai.com/testimonials.
that's excellent. Also, before we end, I want to ask you, what is Eran Funnels? Tell us what that is.
So essentially, it's just a software that lets you build sales funnels. Like if you need to build let's just go through the process on the steps. You've now gotten your testimonials and stuff like that, right? You've gotten 3-4 testimonials. Now it's like time to showcase the testimonials. Okay, so you need a funnel. So first of all, you want to offer a freebie. Let's just say let's go back to the video editor example, right? And you're a video editor and you're helping YouTubers, save time, or podcasters save time by editing their videos. Great. So you could do a little cheat sheet, like a PDF, top 10 mistakes that aspiring podcasters do when trying to edit their videos, or hiring a video editor. So somebody who is looking to hire a video editor and they're a podcaster, they're going to want to know what those mistakes are. So they'll download it immediately. And that's how you build your audience as well. And then you take them through that journey on a funnel, right? Which also shouldn't take a long time to build. And it's really, really simple, right? And then that's how you build your email list and build your audience and stuff like that. So that Eran Funnels is basically the software to let you do all of that and setting all that up.
I love that. So much good stuff going on, Eran. I'm going to be following your journey, and I would love to have you on, because we haven't even touched too much about funnels and lead generation, and there's just so much to discuss. Thank you so very much. Listeners, please reach out to Eran if you have any question about anything he spoke about here. And it's been my pleasure, Eran. Thank you so very much for coming and spending this time and space with me.
Bekef, thank you so much.
Thank you.